What everybody wants at the end of a long, hot, crazy, busy summer is a nice, relaxing getaway weekend of camping in Cook's Forest. This presentation will walk us through this project from beginning to end before going on such a trip. Our project to Cook's Forest, which will result in a weekend camping at Clomet Camping and Cabins in the State Forest of Pennsylvania, was the best option. The purpose is for rest and relaxation. The team members consist of Melissa and Josh. The project will commence on September 23rd and will take approximately 29 days to complete. As we already said, the purpose of this project is to put together a camping trip that'll be a fun-filled weekend where we can have lots of activities and also spend some time relaxing. There'll be several phrases that'll lead up until the time when we leave. We want to ensure that we have a successful trip, which would mean that everyone has a good time and at a minimal cost. Phase 1 will mean we have to look for a campground and book it in the Cook's Forest vicinity, which we have already located. Then we will plan our meals and the different foods, as well as the different cooking items we will need to take with us. We'll need to schedule activities both in the campground and around the Cook's Forest area. Then we will have to go shopping and determine all of the different items we need to pack to take with us on our fun-filled weekend. Here we will see that we want to leave on October 11th. In order to do that, we need to stick to a strict schedule to make sure all of our tasks get met. We're beginning in the week of September 3rd, where we will work on picking a campground and reserving it, as well as determining the different camping gear we need, the route we'll take, and other items. We move on to the week of September 10th, where we'll focus on the meal portion of our trip. Next, we flow into September 17th, where we want to investigate the different activities that we can find both in the campground and around the area. Next, the week of October 1st, we'll start with our packing and organizing for the trip. In order to ensure that we have a fun and enjoyable but safe weekend, we have to have a good quality control plan. That includes some standards that have to be met along the way. For the campsite, we want to make sure that it has proper working water and electricity, close vicinity to the bathrooms. Also, we need to check all of our camping equipment, tent, sleeping bags, lanterns, coolers, and the like to make sure everything is in good working condition. That includes making sure we don't have holes, that the tent will be okay if it rains. Also, that includes the food. We want to make sure that our food is going to be properly stored to the right temperature so that it doesn't spoil. Also, that we'll be able to properly secure it to ensure that animals don't get into it. It's recommended that everything is tested at least 2 weeks prior to the trip, giving ample time to replace anything that may be broken or need replaced. The tent should be aired out to make sure there are no holes, as well as the sleeping bag. We want to also make sure there's no mildew or maybe critters that we don't want to take on the trip with us. This work breakdown structure helps break our project into smaller components. It helps ensure that the work is divided in a manageable way amongst the team members. It also helps show us a different view from a step-by-step nature of what has to be done in order to make our project successful. You can see that the camping trip is broken down into 4 phases. The campsite for phase 1, the meals in phase 2, the activities in phase 3, and the packing in 4. Underneath of each of these 4 phases includes the smaller subtasks that need to be handled and who is going to handle each of these. This responsibility assignment matrix also is another way to better show the breakdown of the different phases, entails each phase, and who is responsible for each. Here you can see again that our phases are divided by campsite, meals, activities, and parking, and the various items underneath that will need to be completed. Next to them, you'll either see a P or an S under the two team members' names, in this case, Melissa and Josh. The P shows who is the primary responsibility for that task. The S shows a secondary. So for example, it's Melissa's primary responsibility to reserve the campsite and book the activities under phase 1. The use of Microsoft Project is also another way to help better organize this project. You can see here that we have a detailed project schedule. This particular chart is referred to as a Gantt chart. Microsoft Project sort of has an Excel spreadsheet look. You can see that we have the tasks in the second column over, followed by the number of days assigned to each of those tasks, the start date and the finish date for each task, as well as the resources for each task, and then the predecessors. The predecessors help show what items need to be done prior to you getting to that task. The Gantt chart also produces a timeline. Here you can see across the top the dates that our project is scheduled to begin, September 3rd. This timeline goes the whole way until October 11th, which is when we're scheduled to leave for our camping trip, thereby making our project complete. It shows, again, who is assigned to each task, when it's supposed to take place, and the length of the bars show how many days would be assigned to each project. You can see here that because there is no overlapping lines for each person, then they can easily complete their task in the allotted time given. Here you will see several different diagrams and charts that help us with our resources. On the left, you can see Melissa, how many hours she's assigned towards the project, and the different items that she's in charge with, and then the items that Josh is in charge of, and the number of hours that he's scheduled. Below that, you can see that Melissa is scheduled to start her role in the project on September 3rd, and she'll finish up on Thursday, October 11th. She will do 120 hours towards the project. Josh will start on September 4th and finish up his tasks on October 10th, completing 104 hours. Up in the far right, you can see the chart and just shows another way of showing us how many hours are assigned to each person. The orange shows that what work has to be still finished. On the bottom, you also see another chart that again just tracks the various hours for the project. This page is a work overview. You can see that the total number of hours is going to be 224. No work has been completed to date. Below the work overview, you'll see that the project is scheduled from September 3rd until October 11th. On the left, we can also see some bar graphs, again, that help chart the number of hours for the project. On the bottom left, you'll see there that it has broken down for us the 4 phases: the campsite, meals, activities, and packing. All right, here we go. Everybody's favorite, the cost. What is this going to cost us? Is what everyone's asking. Here you will see a breakdown of the estimated costs associated with our project. You can see the activities, who's in charge of that activity, how many days are allocated, and the costs. In this case, there aren't any labor costs because Melissa and Josh are the ones going on vacation. So they're not going to pay themselves for the work that they're doing for the project. But normally that would be included as well. You can see here at the bottom that there are 29 days allocated for this project. The cost of materials is going to be a little bit over $1,000. There's very minimal travel costs for a grand total of $1,109. This slide also shows us the cost associated with this project with just a little bit different take on it. You can see that the baseline cost is $1,109, and that's how much is still remaining as we have not completed any of our project to date. You can see on the left, the graph shows us approximately what the cost is going to be. And then on the right, there you see it broken down by, again, by our phases. What is the campsite phase cost, the meal phase, activities, and packing. And here we are, the end of our presentation. But the most important thing we've left for the end, the risk register. Here you can see the potential risks we have in preparing for the project and what could happen along the way that could have an impact, whether it be change in cost or a delay or the like. Part of a proper risk register will show what the potential response plan should be if, gosh forbid, that risk does come to fruition.